Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about astrology and NFL quarterback Andrew Luck, very abrupt, spontaneous retirement. Well, he certainly has some spontaneous extemporaneous energy with having an Aquarius moon, but apparently there was something with his ankle or something that could have led to this his son retirement. He's been decimated with injuries, a good part of like a 7 year, I think, very illustrious NFL career. Moon and Aquarius, of course, can have some issues with that, with as far as something with the ankles. He also, I don't know his time of birth. It wasn't available online, so I had to do, improvise with the solar sunrise chart. He has transit Neptune in the sixth house of that chart, which could indicate something maybe even mysterious or enigmatic. Maybe he had, as far as health issues go, or even a dissolving or dissipation of one's health and making an opposition to the sun. Sometimes that could take like that figurative life out of you, so to speak. And I kind of understand why this happened astrologically. It did come, and people were shell-shocked and flabbergasted, bewildered by this. But he also has transit Pluto. When I looked at the solar sunrise chart, transit Pluto in Capricorn was very close proximity to the fifth house cusp. And of course, that could suggest an ending of a career in sports in some cases. Capricorn, of course, being about ambitions, career, and fifth house of sports. Pluto is about obliteration. It's about ending. And maybe he just felt it was at a point where even the fun and enjoyment for him would be obliterated and destroyed, given that we are talking about Plutonian energy and the fifth house. He's also in his Saturn return right now, which of course, when you have a Saturn return, a lot of times there could be something, I believe, monumental, very prodigious could happen in terms of one's career. And being in disciplined Capricorn, maybe he just felt he had to kind of restrain himself, so to speak, from doing anything in that current profession anymore. He had to be disciplined and say, well, you know what, enough is enough. His body has obviously taken a tremendous toll, given the injuries he's endured over the years. He also has, at the time, a transit Chiron and Aries in that seventh house in the solar sunrise chart. And that, collectively, as many of you may know, transit Chiron and Aries, can be about not feeling worthy. And really, and the thing about a seventh house, of course, is competition. Maybe he didn't, it's not necessarily just merely unworthiness on his part, but maybe he just didn't feel it was just worth the effort to some degree to go out and compete anymore. It just wasn't going to be worth that trouble. And Jupiter was in his 10th house, is in his 10th house in the solar sunrise chart in its exaltation in Cancer. Very good position, very fortuitous, very lucky for one's career and vocation. But Chiron is conjunct, and Jupiter can be about sports. So this is somebody that could have that propensity to amass certain injuries. Now, through something sports related, and being Cancer, something very close to home. Now, Andrew Luck has his Mercury in Libra. In that first house in the solar sunrise chart, I cast it in its retrograde. So he probably is doing a lot of pondering, being very ambivalent, weighing the pros and cons regarding this before making a decision. A lot of review, given that it's retrograde and in Libra. And given he has the sun in Virgo, it's not shocking, really bewildering, that if he was going to leave something, it would be something health related, something pertaining to his health. There's some worrisome Virgo issues going on. As far as his health went, and really having also, he does have, when I looked at his chart, that the chart, the ruler of Aquarius on the sixth house right there could give some propensity for health issues with the ankles or shins or anything Aquarius related. That ruler is in that fourth house, so it's going to be, to me, I think these injuries are going to revolve his home life may revolve around maybe his physical health, some debilitation to some degree. I have the ruler of the sixth house in my fourth house, and a lot of my life has been dominated by my home existence. I also have Venus in the fourth house at the focal point of a fixed T square, and it's very significant. And it's really that, and that Venus is the ruler of my sixth house of health. So I mean, I could really relate and empathize with Andrew Luck. I do believe that he might be spending some more time at home due to some injuries. He might be doing some rehab. It would not shock me if he's going to be going to do some rehab very soon, if not at this present time, on injuries. And the thing too is with Chiron transiting in Aries, regardless of house, I think concussion issues can be more prevalent. Now, I don't know if he may have had, I don't remember 100%, he may have had some concussion issues before. Maybe it's issues that were you have transit Chiron in Aries. Could it be issues that are associated with injuries to the head? That people maybe are more concerned about at this time. That they want to heal. If they're not, they don't feel they're 100% recovered from it. Now, I don't know. Yeah, he may or may not have been recovered 100% from the concussion. I don't know if he, assuming he did have at least one. But the thing about it is, I think when you have Chiron and Aries, they're transiting, there can be a little bit more concern about the head injuries that are to the head. And the thing is, though, and they're not to be taken lightly. And it could be about healing, trying to heal those issues. I believe Chiron is retrograde right now in Aries. So, and not just Andrew Luck, but if anybody has, other people have had concussion issues, I could see that that this could be that opportune time for that, and at least do things if you don't even currently have one, to do things which are going to maybe prevent yourself from maybe taking the precautions. And in Luck's case, this was exiting the NFL, and it is terrible. I mean, it's really a sad day for the NFL, but people have to remember, people have to do what they have to do for themselves. They can't, they're not going to be thinking about, well, is this person going to be despondent, or are they going to be sad because I left? And also, the transit moon in Gemini was very close to his 10th house cusp of career in that solar sunrise chart I cast for him. So it's not really that, again, that's an indicator that there can be something going on publicly and very verbally, maybe expressed in a very verbose, eloquent manner that was pertaining to his career at this time. So that really does not shock me. And again, having this energy in his chart going on, and again, I believing that again with that Mercury in Libra retrograde tells me that he has that there's a lot of ambivalence and decision going on, a lot of weighing the pros and cons going back and forth. But at the same time, when one has the Sun position before Mercury in their chart, a lot of times they make the decision, that the actions can sometimes come a little surprisingly, because sometimes people will act before thinking. There may have been certain premeditation with what he did, but at the same time he may have acted as far as that precise moment in terms of making this announcement. Maybe he acted a little bit before thinking at the same time, if that makes any sense. So I think those are some ways this manifested and played out in his retirement. He also had a number of transits in Virgo in that 12th house of endings at that time in the solar sunrise chart, because that is an indicator right there, people, of an ending associated with work and employment, and it could be pertaining to his health at this time. So, and anyway, those are some ways that this could have I believe this panned out, and also Mercury, I believe, was also in Leo in that 12th, his 12th solar house of the solar sunrise chart. So it's a lot of dramatic communication about an ending as well, and I think that is how that might have panned out for Andrew Luck at this time. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for astrology and the retirement of NFL quarterback Andrew Luck. And stay tuned next time, where I will be continuing my monthly horoscope segments. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.